military, he says, and he'd like some help from Mexico as well. As you know, the president also harkened back to his first campaign statement today and basically doubled down. He is now facing the threat of losing NAFTA. They are in Mexico, from the leaders of Mexico and Canada. They once threatened to walk out of NAFTA negotiations, but the whole thing is starting to sound a bit different this evening. So joining me now is Geronimo Gutierrez, Mexico's ambassador to the United States. Ambassador, thank you very much for being here. It's good to have you with us tonight.
Thank you, Martha, very much. It's my pleasure to be with you this evening.
Well, we do appreciate it. There's certainly a lot going on. I know that when you first got the news that the president was considering amassing National Guard troops at the border with your country, you said that you were going to need some clarity on that. Have you gotten it?
I think we've gotten some clarity. We've spoken with Secretary of Homeland Security, Secretary Nielsen. We've gotten some clarity on that. The central point, Martha, is that we do believe that it is in the interest of both nations to have secure borders. We don't always agree on how to achieve that objective, but we do believe that our cooperation is valuable, and we want to keep it going so long as it's respectful and it works for both sides.
So what's the impact of our having National Guard troops on the border with our relationship with Mexico, which has had some difficulties in recent months? President Peña Nieto canceled a trip to Washington based on what's reported to be a tough conversation with our president.
Well, this is not the first time that the National Guard has been in the border. It's not something that we welcome. We understand the president's objective of securing borders, and we are in favor of securing borders, but we believe that we can achieve a lot through cooperation. And in fact, we have very good cooperation with different security agencies on the U.S., both on immigration and trafficking, drugs, and basically all of organized crime.
The president tweeted a couple days ago, Mexico's doing very little, if not nothing, at stopping people from flowing into Mexico through their southern border and then into the United States. They laugh at our dumb immigration laws. They must stop the big drug and people flows, or I will stop their cash cow, NAFTA. We need a wall. And I know today he said that he was appreciative that the caravans had been disbanded. So it looks like that rhetoric has cooled a little bit. Can you explain to us what you did to disband that caravan and where exactly those people went?
Well, first of all, I would like to differ from the president's position in the sense that Mexico does do a lot to have a secure, legal, safe, and orderly migration. We're all for that. If you look at some of the numbers of people from Central American countries that we have repatriated, you will get a completely different story. Yeah. In the case of the caravan, I think it's important to point out that Mexican authorities have proceeded according with our own immigration policy. The so-called caravan, which is not a new event, has pretty much concluded, or it will be concluding any time now. Some of its members, by their own will, have decided to finish the caravan. And again, Mexican authorities have been in contact with the U.S. for this purpose. I think that the caravan does call the attention to an important point, which is that we must work better together to coordinate our migration and our asylum policies. And just last week, or a few weeks ago, Secretary Nielsen visited Mexico, and we worked precisely on those sorts of issues.
So in terms of the process that, you know, where people come through the southern border, you know, the accusation against some Mexican officials is that they're helping them to get across the United States border, that there's a process that funnels those people through Mexico and into the United States. Are you saying that that policy is going to change?
That is clearly not the case. Mexico does not advocate nor promote undocumented immigration by our nationals or from any other country. We do believe that migration policies should be humane, and that's what we're doing. And at the same time, as it happened with any demonstration in Mexico, public officials provide security for the people that are involved and for third parties. And that's precisely what we did in this occasion.
So in terms of the future of NAFTA, the president has said, we'll get it done right, or we will terminate the agreement between the United States and Mexico. There's also an indication tonight, it looked like an agreement was coming together and that it might be announced next week in Peru. But now the president seems to be backing off that as well, saying basically, well, we'll see, and we're going to give it the time that it needs. What's your understanding on that, sir?
Well, both sides, Martha, are tackling difficult issues. NAFTA is 25 years old. We do agree that it can be improved, updated, modernized, but we do believe that it has been, on balance, very beneficial for the three countries. Mexico is interested in having North America remain a very competitive region. We are certainly share the view that we must do better to bring more jobs into North America, and that's the intent of the teams that are negotiating. There are clearly some tough issues to tackle, but the latest reports do show progress. We have made ground on NAFTA. A deal needs to be a deal for all the parties in order to work, and that's what we're precisely trying to accomplish. That is precisely the message that President Peña Nieto has made very clear today, and I hope that we do get a chance to do that, because that would be in the interest of the United States as much as in Mexico. A successful Mexico is as much in the interest of the United States as a successful United States is in the interest of Mexico. And that is precisely what we're trying to accomplish with NAFTA.
So there's some word today that there were some concessions made on autos to Mexico. Is that your understanding? Do you feel like the White House has given some ground on that issue?
Well, I just, as in any negotiation, every side is going to have to compromise on some aspects. But the important thing is that in the end, we achieve a result that is successful for the three parties. We want and we believe that it's perfectly doable to get a win-win-win solution in NAFTA. And we do believe that the next 30 to 40 days are crucial. And that is precisely, again, what the teams are focusing just as we speak now.
All right. In terms of a visit from your president, do you see that happening anytime soon, a visit to the United States?
Well, the relationship with the United States is very important for Mexico. There's no doubt about it. But I think both sides believe that we should have really optimum conditions when our presidents meet. We're working, teams on both sides are working for that. I would certainly not discard the fact that, or the possibility that they will meet in the future, but I think it's intelligent and it's just wise to make sure that their teams have really paved the way for a successful meeting, and that's what we're working on right now.
Will Mexico ever pay for part of the wall as any part of a NAFTA agreement, sir?
Martha, I think that issue has been settled, and the short answer is no.
Ambassador Gutierrez, thank you very much, sir. Good to see you tonight. All the best.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here.
It's our pleasure. So coming up next, Catherine Herridge with breaking news on two big headlines tonight on newly discovered anti-Trump bias at the FBI. Sources now telling Fox that there were actually multiple infractions that led to the firing of Deputy Director Andrew Maccallum.